know that they watching me. Ooh, I walk in and the party get better. Ain't no me, must got a vendetta. Our house got it, then you know we won't let up. Can't not fellas, tell them who we are, who we be, whose house got the game. We know this the place to be. Okay, ladies, we about to show them that we free. Let your head down, we about to make some memories. Yeah, look, T-minus till we taking off. Whose house gon' bring the game? Our house gonna bring it all, let's go. Whose house gon' bring it? Our house gon' bring it. Whose house gon' bring it? Our house gon' live every night like a Friday night.
What is going on? This is Altone, and just as I said, this is an absolute example of what flight sim training can actually do for you. And I can say it, I'm not the most spectacular pilot in the world, and there's a ton of things I want to learn how to do, but I can tell you from the low passes that I was able to make with my maiden flight of the Aero Scout that I'm sharing with you here in this video, it was absolutely because of the time that I spent recently doing flights over and over again in Aerofly RC 9 and 10. So just sit back and enjoy. I'm just going to share with you some of the highlights of some of my flights with the Aero Scout this past week. So one of the things that I actually did as I was doing this flight, or as I was doing multiple flights with the Aero Scout, is that I was trying to make sure that I got a feel for the aircraft at first. I do the same thing in the flight sim. I'll fly a couple of passes, try to maintain the same level altitude, but do a center pass on the field. And then after I've comfortably done that a few times, I'll gradually come and do another pass over the field, getting just a little bit lower and a little bit lower until I'm doing touch and goes. And that seems to work out great for me. And I was actually able, my first touch and go, I actually wasn't even intending to do a touch and go. I was just low enough that the wheels touched down, which I thought was very cool. One of the other things that you'll notice is that I'm doing passes on the field in different directions. And the reason why is because the field had a direct crosswind. The wind was actually blowing, for the most part, directly toward me, but it was also gusting. And if you are able to see the windsock in the background, as I'm doing these passes, the windsock is actually shifting from one side to the other, which means that the gusts that are coming through are actually shifting from one direction to the other on the field. So I would just, as I'm flying, figure out which way the wind is actually blowing, and then I'd use that direction to do my low pass on the field. So it worked out pretty well, but it was also a little confusing at times, so I just had to pay attention. But I also ended up doing like very large figure eights in some cases, because I'd pass the field, the wind would shift, and then I'd just come back around, line back up, and come back across the field in that same from that direction. So that worked out pretty well as well. At least from my perspective, I thought it was pretty good. landing. I wanted to land a little bit closer, but I decided to go ahead. I see that my battery's getting pretty low there, so it's time to bring her in. That was an awesome flight. I enjoyed it. A couple of touch and goes, something that I haven't practiced enough in the past, but that was fantastic. So I do have another battery. I don't think I'm going to fly that battery today. I think we're going to take it on home. So that is some of the flights that I had for the Air Scout this week. Of course, you do know that I am working on, I did start to build, and I'm actually working on the Flerken, which you can see back here in the background. And I'd actually planned on flying the wing again, but I took it out to the field when I flew the Aero Scout. And unfortunately, I needed to make adjustments that I was not able to make in the field because I didn't bring what was necessary to make those adjustments essentially to my control surfaces in the field. So I brought it back. I decided not to take any chances, just bring it back, and we're going to try it again because I've actually worked out the center of gravity on that wing, and I'm hoping that that's going to allow me to have a couple of additional successful flights while I work on redesigning that wing in order to lighten it up a little bit. So thank you so much for coming by and hanging out with me today. I really appreciate it. I'll hopefully be able to put another video out here coming very soon. If nothing else, you may see a couple of videos of me practicing on a flight sim in the future. So take care, and I look forward to seeing you again very, very soon.